Right, Econo line, Bentley line, Project Gentleman, whatever, exhaust manifold. I promise I'm gonna show you the progress and all that stuff and a bit of tricks and the way I do it. So I want to show you something very particular, very specific. At the first glance you may say this is an error, this is something you've done wrong, miscalculation and all that stuff. Oh, first of all, there's only tack over there, and the other side is tape. Why of that? Because if I tag it from the outside and from the inside, then when I have to remove this runner from the merge collector, I can't get with angle ground over there, so I won't be able to remove it. So even when you put the tags on the pipes, you have to be careful. This one here is on, because this is the only one, or the first one and the last one, we hold the merge collector in place. So this will never be removed from the merge collector if there is no issues. Now the second one is only tacked on the outside and is all going here, blah 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 blah, beautiful. As you may see, there is a bit of a gap on that side and it's very tight on this side. Okay, now the third one, this one here, which is a bit more complicated, more bends, more welds. I'll show you something. If I bring that back into where it should be, all right, and then you have this pipe with this pipe, you see there is a let me just make sure the camera picks this up. There you go. You see there is a misalignment. Well, no misalignment, it's like the angle is the same, but this pipe seems to be too long, seems to go too much farther away. Obviously when I just lose it, it comes apart completely. But what I'm saying is this goes like there. So you have about a couple of minutes of misalignment. This pipe is too long. Now what happens when you weld two pieces together? When you weld this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and that one, and that one, and that one, what will happen? It will pull. Each weld pulls, no matter what you do. This is how it works. All right, so you have to take this in account. Now the first runner, it will change my merge collector. When I weld this one, it will change my merge collector position tiny bit, obviously nearly nothing, but that nearly nothing, it is something for mechanical stress. So once I've done that, then I have to weld this runner over here, which is not finished completely, and it is slightly oversized. You see that gap over there. What it is that once you weld all these welds, they're gonna pull, so that the runner is gonna be shorter, and when it's gonna be shorter, that gap is gonna disappear and there's gonna be gap over on this side. Okay, so you have to leave some room to obviously work this. Now the third runner, once you weld these two, this is gonna be stationary, it's gonna be fairly stable. All right, and then this one is very long, it's slightly different shape. When you're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 welds, and 9 is this one here, but let's say 8 welds, that's gonna pull a couple of meters, I guarantee. That comes from experience, that comes to your welding techniques, that comes to the material used. Because for example, I'm using this has been polished, so you can't see it, but I got a piece of raw one. There you go, 316 Shadow 10. I don't know if you can see it. If not, I just told you that. This is a stainless 316, not 304. 304 is the most commonly used material. I used to use it back in the day. I don't anymore. 316 is much more expensive, but it will always stay like this. You see these welds and the color the manifold takes? It may get slightly darker, kind of like goldish color, purple, blue, and all this stuff, but it will never ever develop any superficial rust. 304, fuck yeah, it will be completely rusty on the surface. It will look shit. That's the truth. I've done them. All my money, like the 304 manifolds, is like, yeah, they look beautiful. You put them through some heat cycles, and you know they get rusty. So the 316 exhaust manifold, when you use 316 stainless, you can use thinner wall material. On the 304, obviously thicker. Why is that? Because the 316 is just slightly better quality, is more dense as a material. It retains the energy a little bit more, which transmits in obviously quicker turbo spool. You say, well, what are you talking about? It's just the material, just a pipe. Well, let me tell you something. They have different properties. The 316 against the 304 retains the energy more, okay? So it's not as conductive. Not being as conductive, again, retains the energy inside the pipes. It doesn't release it from to the outside as quick as the 304. It means the gases inside, they stay hotter. Now, any gas like most of the materials, okay, most, not all of them, especially gases, when you heat them, they expand the volume. Now, what pulls the turbo? The gases, flow, and volume. All right, so you're gonna have, let's say, the same amount of gas but bigger volume because it's hotter once it's reached the turbo, so your turbo is gonna spool quicker. Simple. Yes, just by switching from 304 to 316. Not much, but every little help. Plus, it's not gonna rust, it looks good and all that stuff. However, when you work with 304 stainless, because it's thicker wool, it's different technique of welding than 316 because it's thinner wool. So it pulls differently, it welds differently. To be honest, I prefer to weld 316, but that's again personal. If you know how to weld, you don't really care what thickness of the wool is. It's just a different technique. You have to adjust your post, you have to adjust your amps, you have to adjust your filler rods and all the stuff. But that's something you have to keep in mind. I know it's a bit technical and you know all that stuff, blah blah, but the most important thing is you take in account that this stuff pulls. I've seen a lot of people when they do exhaust manifold, they think this, oh, once you've done this you just have to weld it up. No, bollocks. First of all, some places is very difficult to get, and I don't mind, because once I build exhaust manifold, I break it apart, the first run or the second, whichever keeps everything in place, whichever I think is the most important, and it keeps everything in place, well, the merge collector. And then I'm gonna weld that to the flange and obviously all the runner and in place. Make sure it's everything all right, which it will be. And then each runner of this is gonna be removed from the merge collector to the flange. Gonna be completely removed, okay? This one actually gonna weld it all the way through onto here. I'm not gonna weld this one up because this one, once this is pulling in a little bit, it is not gonna pull completely in that direction. It's gonna pull in any direction. It's going to be slightly over there and slightly over there and slightly over there, because this is the direction the welds are going to pull. So may actually not much perfectly this bend, so I may have to adjust this radius a little bit, this corner here, okay? So I'm going to weld all of this and then match this with the flange by this one here. These are only two welds. They're going to be very little stress, very little pull, and then once you put it on, there's not going to be mechanical stress. What I mean by mechanical stress, if you weld all of this as it is, all right, so you match this, you match everything, you just start welding all together, all these welds, they're gonna pull massively, and all of them in a different direction. There's gonna be hell of a stress on the flange and on the merge collector and on each of the welds, because they pull against something, okay? It's like one merge collector, one runner is gonna pull against the other one, and we got 6 of them. So this is the reason why the exhaust manifold cracks. Well, one of the reasons, the most important reason why they cracks, because your end result is the manifold that has a huge mechanical stress. Now you can reduce it by, I guess I can say 90-95% by welding the runners separately. Because again, if you weld something like this on your own, there's no mechanical stress. The weld is gonna pull. So what? There's no stress. It's attached to nothing. The stress is only when you pull or push something against something else. So okay, and if there's nothing to pull against, there's no mechanical stress. And then you put it on the merge collector, you put it on the flange, and if it doesn't match perfectly, okay, you're still in time to, for example, ground it up over there, because maybe there is a gap, maybe there's a little bit of a gap here, so you pull it off and you ground it down, you match it perfectly so there's no gaps. Once you have no gaps, you weld them on, and guess what, once you weld them on, there's only 2 welds. How much they're gonna pull? Nearly nothing. So that's how you reduce the mechanical stress on the turbo exhaust manifold. And a different story, they don't do it as much, well, obviously depending how you build it, but turbo ones, they go through tons of heat cycles, and this material is thick. This is thick, it's strong, and when you warm it up, it expands, all right, and then it contracts when you cool it down. So all of this stuff works, okay, it moves. This is, for example, when you make a turbo supports once you finish the exhaust manifold, and if it's like long way and it's like making massive lever on the exhaust manifold, or it's a big huge heavy turbo, you do a turbo support. But a turbo support has to be flexible, has to support the weight of the turbo, but has to allow the turbo to move forth and back, or whatever direction it has to pull, because the exhaust manifold we have to do it. If you stop the exhaust manifold from actually working and expanding and attracting, then it's gonna break sooner or later. Something's gonna give up. So you have to keep this in mind. You know, we see this stuff is nice and solid, the steel is metal, doesn't move. No, it moves. Hell, it moves a lot as well. So bear this in mind. Okay, so now as we got the exhaust, well, the first part of the exhaust manifold in, tacked on all the stuff, you've seen the obviously what I showed you before. I like the way it looks, because this is the main part you're gonna see, those 3 pipes going into the merge collector and then the turbo, and then from here obviously is gonna be another port, another big pipe for the waste gates. It's gonna be roughly here. I have to work it out because obviously we got the cam sensor, so we have to avoid too much heat going into some dangerous stuff, so we have to work that out. I may put it over here somewhere, again I don't know, this is later on. I know roughly it's gonna be here. We got space to play with, that's the important thing. When the time comes, we're gonna play with it. Now I have to roughly make sure how to make the other 3 of them. Now roughly I already know, because you kind of have to bear the initial part to suit what you're gonna know after. This is only the half exhaust manifold, so you got to know that the way you're gonna make it, there's enough space to make the other 3 bends, the other 3 runners without big issues. And I know where this is going, and I've made myself space. That's why I removed that heat exchanger from there. Plenty of space. I'm gonna stay not too close to the alternator and very important bits and all that stuff. But now what I've imagined is one thing, and now I have to make sure it is there, because if it's good, I would probably prefer to weld this section of the exhaust manifold up completely and then do the other runners. So all I have to do is pretty much just, let me just put the camera here so you may see something, maybe not. So what you do, you get a couple of bends, or at least one, and it simulates where you put them from the merge collector, from the from the flanges, and again got to make sure we have the access for the bolts. Now all of these nuts over here, easy, I can actually access them with my finger, means with the tools I can get into it, no problems. The ones on the bottom, again exactly the same. However, there's gonna be first, well, the 4th run or whatever, and next one from one of these 3s is gonna be pretty long. They're gonna be straight pipes going straight into the merge collector, because these pipes, they're nice in the bend and it works great because we gain some length. I don't want to do them completely short and these from here completely long. So the straighter the runner, the less the length. So I'm trying to run them as straight as possible. However, I want to maintain them to look good. I don't want to do this first completely nicely bend all the stuff and these like 3 straight pieces, because it will look crap and we completely destroy what we're planning to do. So this part over there, if I see that what I was thinking, if it goes from the merge collector on the bottom close to the engine mount, I still have a space to run an extension with a small socket to go straight into the exhaust manifold flanges bolts. So that's good, but I have to remember there's 3 of them, not only 1. So I will have to keep that in mind, and it's not gonna be easy. This first one, no problems. Second, maybe no problems. The third one, you know, I don't know, because I still again want to make it look kind of fancy and looking good. And then so the pipe is gonna be here, and I have to work out where this is gonna be, even if I can make the moves. So I have to get another one, because you need to kind of go, for example, down and down like this. This is a 90 and 90. You could go this way, so 45, and then from here another 45. So one of these bends will actually be enough to get a pipe from the merge, from the flange straight into there. But this will give you more space. So do I need that much space? I don't know. Again, I have to clear my bolts for from the flanges. So now it doesn't look like I need that much space. I can stay closer, so I can probably chop a couple of these in pieces, a couple of 90s, couple of 1/3. That's what I usually like to do. 90s and one of these I chop them in 3 pieces, roughly equal, and that's usually what I plan, what I work with. So you got 90 degree, a 45 degree, and about 33 degree each. It's a bit less than 33 because you lose about 1.5 mm for cutting, so it's going to be about 31, 32 degree each. You don't have to do it precisely. Actually, sometimes if you have one of these frees, when you chop them off, one is slightly bigger than the other, that is actually good because it gives you another option. Because when you put this larger one on, it might be a little bit too much of an angle, and then you have an option, the one that you cut it a little bit slow, a little bit less angle, it may be just perfect. So, you know, it's all these things. But yeah, I'm just gonna turn the camera off now because it's gonna be boring. I'm gonna have to spend some time here and just make sure everything fits and exactly as I planned. And if it's all good, then I go ahead and I'm gonna weld this section up and then proceed to build the other section. And once we've done that, we have to make the other merge collector, and we have to reproduce this exhaust manifold on the opposite side. It means it will have to be very similar, nearly identical, but mirror side. So yeah, that's gonna be tricky. I like it. Right, so I think I got it figured out. I actually changed my mind a little bit. There's supposed to be 3 pipes going underneath over there, but I think it's gonna look better and also more practical if I get this runner from the other flange in the same direction as these 3. So it's gonna be 4 of them kind of following the same shape. It's gonna go just underneath of that curve, and there's plenty of space there to reach, well, you can't see it from here, but reach one of the poles on the merge collector. And once this is here, so remember this one is here, okay, I can't do it with just one hand, I'm gonna remove it, and then the other runner, so this one here is not gonna go 90 here, this is gonna be chopped like at 45 degree, but it's gonna just facing over there, which let me just turn the light on so you can see it even better. Oh, there you go, you see. So that one is gonna, again, bear in mind that lower bit, this one here is gonna be chopped at 45 degree, and is gonna going straight towards the merge collector, close to the engine mount, and still clears all my nuts on the bolts to tie the flange down, which is a simple straight socket and extension all from underneath. And this is possible only because I removed that big bastard over there. If that was here, it will not be possible. So that was a good job. Yeah, thank you very much, thank you very much. Yeah, I know it was a good job. And this one here, the last one, is gonna be similar, but it's gonna come a little bit over here, so it's gonna avoid the to stay close to the alternator, going out a little and around it. Okay, so this will leave me all this room from here, so kind of here, all this section to go with the boost pipes. Now there's a bit of tie here. I'm probably gonna remove, maybe, I don't know, I'm gonna have to work this out yet, but probably yes, because I want space for everything and plenty of space. This is a cross member for the body, which is actually tied to the chassis, but this section here I can actually remove it and put it forward. All I have to do is to move it forward by, well, at that point, doesn't matter if I move it by 1 inch or 3 inches, it really doesn't matter. So I may just, you know, remove it, do my boost pipes, everything nice and suitable for this engine, and then put the cross member whatever suits me. I guess it's gonna be moved by about anything between 2 and 3 inches, no more than that. That will be plenty of space for me. I can actually squeeze them now, but I really don't want to do all the tight job. I want everything to be, you know, plenty of space. Bear in mind this engine is on, not on the solid engine mounts, it's on the original engine mounts, so full comfort, but that means it's gonna rock, it's gonna move a little, especially on the torque. So we have to take that in consideration. The whole thing is gonna move. But again, we have to get the pipes from the compressor. There's gonna be extended from 2 inch to 1/4, whatever this is, to 3 inch over here, and then going right down here, and the air filter over here. And then obviously the throttle body, we have to change the position. I don't like the way it is, because this one faces kind of back a little, that one faces front or 90 degree, and I don't like it. I will try to make it completely symmetrical. So this section we have to modify. This will follow this line, so not gonna be here, it's gonna be here roughly, and then because when you go back it will expand, so this section here, it will have to be modified, looking something similar to that one there. Not gonna be identical, but very much more similar. That will give me more room, if this is gonna be back, to run the pipes down there, and this one here, and all the stuff. Now someone on the YouTube suggested, why don't you run a charge cooler, which makes sense. You still have to run the boost pipes and all the stuff, but the charge cooler doesn't have to be in the front of the engine to get the air. It can be positioned anywhere. What you have to run is to water pipes to the radiator in the front, because that actually would cools you air that goes into the engine. Yes, that's true, we can do it, but that would be completely practical and only practical. What we're trying to do here is to make it look good as well. What the customer wants, he wants me to do a nice job. He wants it to be visible, which I like it. I like the idea. So I would try to do all my best to bring all the pipes over here, make it look outside, you know. I wanted this to just be full of nice pipe work, aluminium, stainless, nice clamps, you know. Just like I say, I would try to do one of my best turbo systems I've ever done on this engine, and it's kind of like a show car anyway, so it's not purely performance, it's for show as well. Sure, I'm not gonna compromise performance a lot for the look of it, but I have to take in consideration it has to look good as well. Like I say, I like the idea, so why not? So yes, at least I will be forced. I will not use a charge cooler only for that reason. The idea is good, but our goal is slightly different, and it's not suitable for what we want. If I had more space over here, okay, for example on the back here somewhere, I could, for example, use a big ass charge cooler over here, which will go in the twin turbo system, which is complicated but very nice, a lot of pipe work, but we don't have that space. We're already taking quite a lot of space inside the camper van. This is going to be, remember, this is going to be transparent. It's going to be like a, well, not glass, I guess, because it's not resistant to heat. I don't know, I have to speak with someone who's specialized in that stuff, but it has to be transparent. It's going to be like a coffee table inside the camper van. So when you open the door, you see all of this, okay? So yeah, it has to be good. However, if I take too much space, it will not be practical again. We run a little bit of compromise to run this mid-engine because of the vision we had with the customer, and the table here is fully suitable. It's a little bit of compromise, but it's very cool, so he's happy with this, you know. And but if I take even more space and more space, that will start to be a bad compromise, and we don't want that. This is enough, you know. I know this is probably a death trap with that much power, but it doesn't matter, you know. It's just because it's gonna have 1000 brake horsepower doesn't mean you have to use it. Sometimes it's just good to, I have that power if I want to, that's it. Never used it, never have to use it, probably never gonna use it, but I have it if I want to. And I'll just have a coffee table on the back of my camper van with the Bentley W12 twin turbo engine, capable of 1000 brakes, or actually making 1000 brakes, whatever. So that is the ideology. A little bit stupid, a little bit pointless, a little bit mad, crazy, or whatever, but this is the reason I choose to come back in a workshop and do this stuff, because I just like it. So there you go, hope you enjoy it.